everyone. Today I would like to talk about what I learned from Aaron Sorkin's Masterclass. In case you don't know, Aaron Sorkin grew up in Scarsdale, a suburb of New York City, where he was very involved in his high school drama and theater club. After graduating from Syracuse University with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in theater, Sorkin intended to pursue a career in acting. It took him only a short time to realize that his true love and his true talent lie in writing. His first play, Removing All Doubt, was not an immediate success, but his second play, Hidden in This Picture, debuted in 1988 at the West Bank Cafe Downstairs Theater Bar. A longer version of Hidden in This Picture, called Making Movies, opened at Promenade Theater in 1990. Despite his youth and relative inexperience, Sorkin was about to break into the spotlight. In 1989, he received the prestigious Outer Critics Circle Award as Outstanding American Playwright for the stage version of A Few Good Men, 1992, which was later nominated for a Golden Globe. Sorkin has gone on to write for many movies and TV shows, including The American President, The West Wing, The Social Network, Steve Jobs, and The Newsroom. Aaron Sorkin teaches you the craft of film and television screenwriting in his 8-hour masterclass, but let's focus mostly on the general ideas of story development. To be honest, when I watched this class, I found that I knew a lot of the information that he told, not saying that it would ever be a waste of your time, but I am just saying that that probably means that if you are watching this video, you're probably honestly ready to start writing right now. But let's get into it. Let's start with story ideas. So first and foremost, a story idea is not, I want to write about surfing. You don't have a story until you can use the words but, except, or, and then, which leads us into intention and obstacles. His biggest thing, I think, in this whole masterclass. Intention and obstacles is how you start the solid foundation for your story. You don't have a good idea until you know what it is that your character wants and what will be standing in their way of getting it. And whatever it is that's in your character's way needs to be really solid and formidable. Please remember that, of course, your medium definitely impacts how quickly you need to show the intention and obstacle. For example, a theatrical release movie versus a direct-to-streaming movie might differ. The direct-to-streaming movie might require that the show of your character's intention and your character's obstacle, or at least your character's first obstacle, might need to happen more quickly because it's easier to be like, okay, I'm bored, let me go find a different movie. But with a theatrical release, you have a little bit more time because they took the time to get ready, they used their gas to drive to the theater, they paid for a ticket, now they're sitting there. So you do have a little bit more time, but of course, you never want to keep your audience waiting. You never want them bored, and Sorkin says, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid taught him everything he needs to know. It's important to note that your character does not win and overcome the obstacle. They just have to at least try to overcome the obstacles that are in their way. Keep in mind that the audience wants to participate. The more they can be putting something together, the better. That being said, it's imperative to not treat your audience as if they're dumb. So, obviously that means don't feed them too much information. Let them try to work things out on their own. Now let's move on to developing characters. Characters are also developed from their intention and obstacle, just like the story. They're also built from the tactics that they will use to overcome the obstacles or fail. This makes sense as to why Sorkin doesn't recommend making one of those detailed, super detailed character background sheets, unless, of course, whether they prefer crunchy peanut butter to smooth peanut butter is imperative to the story. Sorkin advises to write characters and not people. He says that the two have very little in common, very little to do with each other, and if you try to write people as they are, it's like creating a documentary and not fiction. Now, on to writing. To better your craft, Sorkin recommends watching movies and shows and reading screenplays, teleplays, and stage plays, all whilst being a diagnostician. He says rules, and the only rules he says that there are the rules of drama, are what make art beautiful, and also recommends Poetics by Aristotle. So when writing your story, he says the first act should be chasing your hero up the tree, which I would equate to being the setup. In the second act, he says to throw rocks at them, which I would say is the conflict. And in the third act, you either get them down from the tree or you let them die up there, which I would say is sort of like the resolution, or at least what happens after you get them down or after they die up there. If you want to get them down, their escape must be introduced in the first act. I think this is so important, especially when he recommends that you watch movies and you read screenplays and be like taking notes and studying them and being a diagnostician. Like, I think that's just so true. I was just thinking about how many movies where the solution in the end has been introduced in the beginning of the movie. So definitely look for that when you are watching films and watching shows and reading teleplays and screenplays and stage plays, and see where that comes up. And of course, there are always going to be exceptions, and the exception works, then that's great. When you're writing, it's important to avoid writing things that obviously could not happen. Of course, that is not the case if it's like sci-fi and or fantasy or some genre like that. Because if the audience groans, Sorkin warns, it's hard to get them back. So don't confuse your audience either. You want to be clear, but be careful not to tell the audience something they already know. And lastly, don't forget to make your stakes high. This, I think, is really a short video, but that's basically it. Those are my biggest takeaways from Aaron Sorkin's masterclass. I hope this information both educated and inspired you. Till next time, bye. Hello fellow storytellers and story lovers. I want to thank you kindly for watching my video. If you want to see more from me, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at MelodyCLane. If you're looking for someone to help you develop your story, I'm available. You can find more information on my website. The link is in the description below.